Welcome back to Control. We're going to talk about level design. Now, Control is a game about the oldest house, and the oldest house is all about the strange things it can do. It can change terrain, it can do unusual morphological stuff, but you're not supposed to know that yet. So they want to sort of set you on edge and make you feel like there's something wrong without showing their hand too early. Obviously, their marketers immediately showed the hand and ruined that entire idea, but that's not their fault. That's the marketer's fault. So when you get here into this office section, what your conscious mind is going to notice is that these offices seem to be from the 60s or the 70s. We got like a reel-to-reel projectors and stuff like that. There's nothing terribly modern going on. There's also things like vodka in the meeting room. So this is not the sort of place where, you know, this isn't like a tech startup or something. This is really old school. And you're probably going to start to feel a little bit creeped out, and you might not realize why, because you're probably focused too much on the fact that this is out of time, like this is not from the right time period. But there are a lot of things wrong with the way these levels are laid out at the most basic level, and those are things that you are going to start to notice unconsciously. For example, the only windows are from room to room. There are no windows looking out over the street. That's strange. I mean, the street is like 5 feet that way. So where are all the windows? How deep does the building go if there's no windows on that side? Well, the truth is that the entryway is the only part of the oldest house that actually connects to New York. There are no windows because what would you see through them? I don't think you want the answer. Similarly, we've got these massive vent attachments on the ducts. This is something that you don't see. Usually the duct vent is just like a bunch of slits. But this tells you that they're pulling air, and they're pulling air hard. Why do they need to pull air hard? You're 30 feet from New York. Just bring it in, right? You're not 30 feet from New York, and there's no air here. This is in addition to subtle things like, why can this office be seen from this side but not entered from this side, and all sorts of details like that. They start to add up, and pretty quickly you realize that there is something really strange going on, and this is the key. This is a wonderful, wonderful setup. This is a vending machine full of MRE style snacks. No logos. They're just labeled as what they are. The reason for that will become clear in the long run, but it is super cool that they came up with this idea and they used it here, and they put it in exactly the right spot for you to notice. Like it's in the dark, but it's glowing, and the snacks are flat white. Nothing else in the game so far has been flat white. Even the whiteboard over there is not flat white. But those snacks are, and they glow brightly, and you immediately know that there's something very, very wrong with this office building, because the snacks are dead and flat and white. It's great. It's great. The vast majority of Control is set in a situation where there are hallways and rooms off to the sides. That's what we've got here. Normally speaking, you can't enter all of the rooms, and they also take great pains to kind of break up how the rooms are lit. Like this one's dark, and that one's bright, and then over there's another dark one. That's to keep you from really noticing the fact that the same sets of toys are repeating. All of these rooms have the same furniture and the same desks and all that stuff, and if they were all lit evenly, it would feel very repetitive, and they don't want it to feel repetitive yet. So in order to keep the repetition down, they use a couple of techniques, which we'll talk about as they come up, such as focused boredom. But in this case, all they've really had to do is turn the lights on in some of these rooms and turn them off in others. So at this point, we can still go back. We can still leave. But they're going to pull a trick on us. It's not quite flawless. You're going to go ahead and see a little pop. There, see it? The way back has been closed off. This is a fun little trick you can do. I don't really mind that there was a little pop. I just wanted you to see it happen. This is them shutting off our way back and forcing us to continue on, talk to the janitor, and move on with the game. I think it works very, very well. The Oldest House, I am not a fan of some of the things that they do with it, but I am a big fan of this. It is really fun and really confusing, and it also serves like 8 different purposes. It forces us to move forward, it throws us off and gets us confused, and it also lets them completely change the color of these lights, because they want to drive us from this warm yellow tone into an icy blue tone, because that feels creepier. So that's what we've got. The lights from this office are now icy blue lights. We don't get any of the yellows or warmer tones from anywhere else. And it really helps to put us off and make us feel like, uh-oh, there's something creepy going on. The thing that's creepy is Ahti. You can actually see him through the windows here. And you might also notice that this room has no entrances at all. Yeah. How observant were you? How quickly will you start to notice things like that? Now, I understand why they left some of these offices completely unlit, but I wish they were lit because I like to see all the toys, and you can't see them when they're like that. Oh well.
Hello?
I'm trying to keep the turning under control. There's something about this game where turning fast, like this, can really make the video look weird, and I don't know if that's just, you know, some artifact of the fact that I'm in control and it looks really strange when someone else is in control, but I'm going to try and keep turning under control. However, first we have to talk to Ahti.
Hey, excuse me?
There you are. You are here about the job. Janitor's assistant. You need to go to the interview. Go that way to the elevator.
Thanks. Elevator that way. Got it.
Very good. I'm Ahti, the janitor, by the way. You'll work for me. You can say I sent you. If they don't hire you, you are no helvet. There be work for the axe. Take them behind the sauna, jumalauta.
I've done enough night shift loner jobs to know it makes us come off weird. Ahti the janitor is a friendly face in my book.
Better than somebody with no face at all. Think about it. No face.
But that said, I know what you're thinking. If there's an axe murderer around, that's him.
Alright, so Ahti is the best character in the game. I have some problems with the way this game is written, and that's probably just because I'm kind of jaded. It feels like it's written for a less experienced audience, I guess. There are a lot of really obvious setups, a lot of really obvious tells, and the way that the game is formulated in the first place, the plot can feel really contrived, and we'll talk about that as we go through, but it's not really going to be my focus. I don't think the plot is bad, but if I were a teacher grading it, I'd give it like a C+, B-. And if that upsets you, well, sorry, that's kind of how I am. That said, Ahti always tells the truth and nothing but the truth. You are here for a job interview. You are here to be the janitor's assistant. He is on top. He's the best. He's just a fantastic guy. And one of the coolest things about Ahti is that when he mops the floor, he actually mops it. Take a look. Yeah, that's right. They went ahead and created a mopped wet floor panel for this. I think that's a great idea. When you're creating stuff like this, there is always going to be like a question of how far do you push it? Where exactly does it stop? And that's why there is this big dark shadow, because we can't see where it stops. See, it's really difficult to make out any of the swirls on this tile because you can really only see the swirls from a direct light bounce like this. So by using careful lighting, you can sort of hide things that would be annoying. Like you might have to be like, well, we're going to have a panel that's like half covered in swirls or something. Just don't bother. Just slap a shadow across it. It's fine. One of the other things that's worth noting about the way this game is written, the main character talks to herself, saying it to herself. The main character talks inside her head a lot, and that lets her explain things, but it also lets her explain things. And then, of course, it also allows her to explain things. And sometimes she chooses to explain things. So I hope I don't get too annoyed with her, but she talks as much as I do. Anyway, we're back out. If you were not the most observant person and you just drove straight forward, you might be a little bit confused as to exactly where you are, because you came in here and you went left, but when you came back out, there's nothing over there. It doesn't feel like you made a full loop. It feels like maybe you're 90 degrees off or something, but no. The oldest house has tricked you. And that's trying to set you on edge, trying to make you feel like there's something very wrong with the building. It's sort of setting you up for the fact that this is an SCP game. Of course, if you watched any of the marketing, you already know that, but it's still very well done. We're going to go downstairs in the next episode, but first, I want to point out there's an upside-down handprint on this panel here. I wonder why that's there. You think that Ahti was standing on the roof and mopping the ceiling lights? I wouldn't put it past him. Anyway, see you next episode. Same game.